All right, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
We're here.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm too tired to actually be able to form actual thoughts.
Hey, this is Jeremy. Make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe. But everybody who's watching this video, if you could put it on pause and please tag any radio station, newspaper, magazine, or journalist that you know would find this story. And then we can get the word out for the Boxmasters for their 69 tour, world tour that's getting ready to go on. First off, I want to say happy anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary. Connie didn't say a word to me about it.
Oh, yeah. I know. I met you guys 6 years ago tonight
That's right.
Wow.
at the Heart.
It's only been 6 years.
Wow.
Seems like a lifetime.
I have enjoyed every moment of it.
Oh, that's good.
Well, we want to tell our fans that you have an amazing album, 69, that they can pre-purchase now, and 66. And the tour starts May 19th through July 9th. So you guys excited to go back on the road again?
Very excited. It's actually May 19th through July 28th.
Yeah.
We are the last 2 weeks of the tour in Europe.
Yeah, we haven't announced them yet. I keep sending our agent a message saying, hey, when can we announce the European dates? Because they're set. We've signed the contract. It's going to happen. We're just waiting for the, bosses basically to say, you can put out the word and start, letting people know. We did add a couple of shows that we can't announce yet between that last show in Belleville, Illinois. There's going to be 3 more shows in Wisconsin, Illinois, maybe
St. Louis.
No, it's in the upper Midwest,
Yeah.
the Illinois, Wisconsin, what's that other state up there?
Oh, Minnesota.
Yeah,
There's
that one.
there's something. Yeah, we're actually taking a home correspondence geography course right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to ask you, 66 actually caught me by surprise. So it's kind of like a Christmas present for your fans. And it was a birthday present for me because it was a week after. When was 66 recorded? So we can show our fans the beautiful album here. When was this amazing album recorded?
Well, let's see. We did that at Henson, right? At A&M.
Yeah, we did that one somewhere in the light rays. That cycle. Yeah, we made that record and we intended on putting it out for Record Store Day one year, probably 2019, something like that. And we didn't get it submitted in time. And so they were like, well, you're too late. We can't do anything with it right now. So we had this record sitting here and we play 2, 3, 4 songs from it during the show. So, we know people would like to be able to hear those, rather than just at the shows. So we had the idea, let's put it up on the website. So we did we had it laying around. So we just had to, make a cover. So Billy asked his daughter to put together a cover. And so she did all the art stuff for it. And it's like, okay, cool. Because these days you can just kind of hit a button and all of a sudden it's released, all over the world. So we set that up for Christmas Eve, I guess, this last year, 2022. And then, it's also not too hard to make CDs. And so thankfully we were able to just send the stuff off and get those pressed up. So we wanted to have them for the tour. And so, because that's where most of the people come out and see us. And then, maybe they hear a song like Go Like This, or trying to remember what other songs are.
Garage. Yeah. We always play Garage live. And yeah.
So we'll have it ready.
My favorite songs are, of course, Blue Diamond, You Got Me Down, and Your Eyes Are the Color of Nothing. When I listened to the intro to You Got Me Down, did you borrow the intro from the Beatles' Don't Pass Me By?
Borrow?
Or not intentionally. I mean, it's, there's such influences on us that you sometimes you just can't help borrowing bits, but we never sit there and work out unless we're doing a cover. we don't sit there and be like, oh, maybe if we change this note, we'll keep from getting sued by Paul. It's we're just such fans that everything we do has bits of the Beatles, the Byrds, the Beach Boys. It's like we just can't help it. We love them so much that it just comes out of us that and we are blatantly honest about it, that we're such fans that we love to pay tribute to our heroes.
Yeah, so I mean, we have other songs too that have some configuration of a chord structure that might be a Beatles or a Kinks or some band we love of their one of their songs, But
well, right, tell them
yeah,
like the song right
we
now
were just talking about we're working on a new song right now for another album tonight, and it's called "I'll Stay with You," and the whole time we're listening to it, we were like, immediately we knew when we first started working on the song, it's like, uh, this sounds like an America song. It's not uh, it's not an America song, but it just sounds like them. You know what I mean? But then there was this one, the ending of the verses. It goes to this chord where we thought that sounds like something, doesn't it? And years ago, we did a cover of a Pink Floyd song, "What's the Deal," and we did a cover of that, and it turns
for
out,
fun.
yeah, for fun. And we never put it on a record. And tonight we realized that the song sounds like an America song, and it goes to this one chord where it sounds like Pink Floyd. So those influences always come in, and so yeah, that's well, I mean, like JD said, we play 3 or 4 songs live off this record and have for a couple of tours. So it was silly that we only we didn't have it out, and JD had the idea of putting it out at Christmas for the fans that come to the website and everything. And he also said, well, we got to have a physical copy because people are going to want one who like it, and we got Bella, my daughter, to do the art, as JD said. So she's got her first production design or graphic design album title. She's got her name on it. Yeah. And so it's just a little semi collage of different photos of stuff from the 66 times. So that's Bella dressed up like and Connie dressed up kind of like a Janis Joplin looking kind of girls, and we've got gear from 66, and like there's the fuzz face, about is that the first fuzz tone, or there's one before?
No, there's one
more for that. But the fuzz face came out in 66. So it all means something, to do with that era.
I wanted to ask. I read all your albums, and then when you include CDs, they have little booklets with it. I wanted to ask, what is the difference between your studio, Henson Studios, and something called Bakery Culver City?
Oh.
So our studio, I mean, this is it now. We're in Pepper Tree Hill Studios. That's the studio we've had for the last, is it 2 years now?
About 2 years, yeah.
Year and a half, 2 years. And before that, there was a studio that Billy had called The Cave that was in his basement. And then for 10 years or so, we just went to Henson, which is a legendary recording studio in Hollywood. It was originally called A&M Studios. They built it in the 60s, right? Or even maybe before that, because it was part of right. But anyway, so it was this legendary studio where people like the Carpenters and Herb Alpert, it was his studio. And just so many amazing records were made there. So we always loved going there to record. It sounds great, the people are great, the staff was all fantastic. I mean, the studio managers, I know one of your best friends.
But when you said what's the difference, one difference is when you go over to A&M, they provide the coffee and stuff. We have to get our own over here.
Yeah.
We don't have runners or assistants. We have imaginary assistants.
Yeah.
But and the bakery down there you're talking about, that's a mastering lab. So it's not an actual recording studio. That's where they master records. And JD's friend Eric runs the place, and he's mastered our last 3-4 records.
Yeah,
like that.
since Light Rays,
Yeah.
everything since Spec. Yeah, Eric, he basically makes it so that he takes all the songs and puts them on the CD, and then also makes the vinyl master so that it can be sent off to be pressed. They do all that kind of technical mumbo jumbo magic-y kind of stuff at the end of the process. And Eric does a great job, and he's a funny guy, so we just keep sending stuff to him. And plus he's local, so it's like, if we, it's not hard to drop the tapes off, because we actually do use a tape machine. We mix down to it, and we actually have tapes, and so we have to be able to take them to someplace that can physically play them. Some places these days, they can only do a digital file, but the bakery has a tape machine and a lathe, and they can do all that stuff like we like making analog records.
I want to ask, the most important thing is Boxmaster 69 is the name of the tour. Can you describe how you came up with the artwork, and then how long it took to record the album?
Well, the artwork was our buddy Noches, Chris Jimenez, who has actually done a tour with us as one of the roadies, and Chris is a good friend of ours and a great artist, and he's done a couple of covers. He did the cover for Help I'm Alive also. And so we essentially just give him, on that album and this one, we just give him our idea, a loose idea of what we want,
Which, if when you see the cover, I don't think what Billy told him is actually what ended up on there.
Well, it's not. We wanted a couple of, we just wanted me and JD in sort of cartoon form. We said, sort of realistic, not as cartoony as, like, say, the Beatles cartoon or something like that, but some sort of caricatures of us, but looking like we would have looked in 1969, right? Because that's the theme of the album, 69. And so he comes back with this drawing where JD and I are in the same pair of pants.
Yeah, Siamese twins,
Siamese bandmates. And we loved it so much because it's so weird looking.
It's bizarre.
And we thought, you want an album cover that pops out. That's why we love the 66 cover. You look at it and you go, what are all these? And people study them. And then you got the other end of the spectrum where you have one that just, the second you see it, you go, the hell is that?
Yeah.
And so there we are. And so we loved it instantly and just thought, well, that's recognizable. I mean, people won't forget that. And then JD is the one who came up with the idea of making that yellow background with paisley.
Yeah.
An album.
Yeah, and I was going to say, the 69 is 1969. We had 66 and then 69's companion piece. Now we're kind of working on a, like a 63, here lately. But yeah, it's just, taking those periods of music that we love, like what were the sounds that they were using? What's the technology, like what kind of stuff were they doing back then? We just kind of think about it and we study it, and then just do our best to think like we're a band in 1969. What are we going to do? So that's kind of how we focus on what each record is. It's like, how can this be different? And 69 was also, that was the first record that we did here at Pepper Tree Hill. We just started once we got off the tour a couple of years ago. We just started recording, and so it was, we were still putting the studio together at the time we started. We didn't even have the control room set up. We just had to sit out in the other room and just kind of start plugging things in and kind of like, oh, okay, can we hear that? Okay. Just let's because we just wanted to start recording. And so we had the record done by the time the next tour came and had it all mixed and everything. And so it takes a while before you can get on the record label schedule. So since then, since the last tour and since that record, we've done 3 or 4 records, mixed an extra one, and there's the record that we put out in 2015 called Providence, and we just finally got around to remixing that. Eric's going to be mastering that hopefully on Monday. And, the plan is to have CDs at least pressed up by the tour too. So, we've never had a physical copy of that record. It was a digital only release in 2015. And so we just really wanted to have it out. And, the last time I mixed it, I think in my kitchen. So, we really wanted to have a proper, good, studio sounding mix and, make it so, people could enjoy it, because there's songs that we play in the set that people have always wanted a copy of, and so we're happy that we should be able to have that on the tour.
There were a couple of main songs that we played for years that are on that record, but since it was only available digitally, it was like, well, wow, these are like, I mean, for Boxmaster fans, there's a couple of songs on there that are, our version of iconic to them, like the song Providence and Beautiful are both on that record. And we had the artwork a long time ago too. So it was ready to go. And now we're going to be able to have the physical copies for people when we see them.
I want to ask my favorite song, because on 69, haven't got to hear it all yet, is Must Have Been High, because you've been playing that live. What was the what was the inspiration behind that, or was the title self-explanatory?
Well, no, I mean, honestly, when you tell an audience, hey, I'll usually say to the audience, hey, you'll probably relate to this. It's called It Must Have Been High. And people get a laugh out of it. But it's actually not a song about getting high. It's a song about, it's about leaving someone who was probably the best thing that ever happened to you. And because you're a moron, you left them. And it's a song about regretting how they treated somebody and regretting leaving them. Meaning, like, I must have been high to have left you, basically. That's
left you out in the rain.
Left you out in the rain. Exactly. So it's a guilt song.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. I like the way you wrote it.
Well,
it is pretty, but it's also, it's a up-tempo rock song, it's a lot of fun to play live, and it was fun to record at the time. So I'm glad we got a good, we have a version of it that we recorded in Sellersville, Pennsylvania, live from the last tour, that's up on YouTube. So if anyone goes to the Keen Tone Records YouTube page, because that's where they are, because like all things internet related, we forgot the passwords for most of our accounts. So like our old YouTube account, our old Facebook account, Instagram, I think all three of them, I think we had to make new ones because no one could remember what the password was.
We're logical.
Yeah, we're old people. What do you do?
I do all mine on like pen and paper, so that in case my phone crashes, I know what the actual password is.
Yeah, you're not lazy like we are.
Well, we had somebody else doing it, and I think Rob could have used a piece of paper too. So
I want to ask probably the biggest question I get to ask you guys: when the Boxmasters get your star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you each get to pick two people to speak. Who are the two people you would choose?
That's interesting.
Well, I mean, since we'll never have a star on the Walk of Fame, because
right.
You gotta, I think, sell your soul, probably. Is that what you did when you got yours?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know I was getting it. They just called me up and told me. But yeah, I don't, to speak well.
I want Paul McCartney and Brian Wilson.
There you go.
Let's shoot big. Let's not mess around with this is all a dream. So let's go with two of the biggest influences of all time.
Exactly.
And then have John Fogerty be nice and come out and say nice things too. And
we could also have Jerry Beckley and Dewey Bunnell speak, because they're fans of the Boxmasters.
Well, and we were there at theirs.
And we were at their star ceremony, and I did speak at it. So, hey, look, I turned the favor. Come on.
Very true.
With all of the albums you have, songs you have recorded in albums, will you guys ever sit down and do a solid acoustic or unplugged album?
We have songs that are kind of like that, but not.
We did one in the early days. Yeah, but I mean, I don't even think we'd gotten to the second record yet.
I don't think
We
so.
did an acoustic record or versions of like the first record, or with a couple of different songs on it too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Pootie song was on there,
Right, right, right.
but it's another one of those things that have never been released,
Yeah, we
and we probably
never even
never
made a
will.
record. Yeah,
We never will, because it's
it's too
it was a
many.
different time.
Yeah,
So we'd have to do another one. But I think we'd want to do like will the circle be unbroken kind of thing, and have friends play with us, because we're not really an acoustic band.
yeah.
Maybe if we can get us a MTV Unplugged kind of thing, but have
Yeah, we'll get a
you know
couple of the guys
some
from the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. They're our pals. And they're used to doing records like that, like Will the Circle Be Unbroken. So we'll get them over here and do one maybe sometime.
This is an engineering question I didn't know if you guys were familiar with. So what some drummers are doing lately, they're unscrewing the back of their drum, and they're like a regular house fan that blows air on you. So they'll screw that together. So when you're beating on the bass, it makes a wah sound. Have you guys experimented with that?
No.
No, we've
No.
we kind of stick to what they did in the 60s, and
Yeah.
that was
Yeah, I got a
you know
nice little Ludwig kit that works just fine.
yeah,
So yeah.
it's yeah, I mean, if we were making more modern sounding stuff for TikTok, maybe we'd
Mhm.
do some more tricks like that. But honestly, we're trying to write the best songs we can and record them in the best way possible, and we'll make some weird sounds and do some strange stuff, but um, we're not going to give those secrets away, because we're devious.
That's right.
I want to ask, have you ever discussed working with rappers or female vocalists?
Female vocalists, yeah, yeah, a couple of times we actually did have uh, a, a girl named Dee Dee Magno Hall, who's a friend, and she did uh, like a background vocal thing for us on a song once. And we've discussed having a duet or something sometime, with someone. So that's absolutely a possibility in the future for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, we'd love to, there's a lot of female artists that we're fans of,
Mhm.
but you know all they have to do is ask us.
Yeah,
you know
yeah. Call us up.
that's the thing. It's like, you don't get asked, and then we're not going to go out and be like, hey, we want to record records with you, because we record our own stuff nonstop. And but if somebody, like who made this, who made this
Oh,
tool,
Carly Simon.
Carly Simon, wanted to come out and record a song with us,
Yeah,
we'll pick her up from the airport even.
absolutely. And as far as
If Susanna
working,
Hoffs ever wants to come over and record, I will carry her from her house. Not joking.
yeah, that was a proposal. So
Don't tell her husband, okay?
yeah, exactly.
Or my
Yeah, her husband's a good dude. But anyway, in terms of rap records, we don't know how. I mean, that's not something I don't. In other words, I don't think we would be very handy for them. I mean, I think they can find better people.
I know.
He knows how to engineer this stuff. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know how to make.
We don't know how to make all stuff, but yeah, I mean, and we have a lot of respect for a lot of those guys. It's just that I think they could find better people to do it. People who know more about it than we do. So I don't. In other words, I don't think there's a lot of incentive for a rapper to do a record with us.
Well, earlier we were talking about being original to your sound and to your production. Every year or so, the Beatles instruments will come up for auction. Have you guys ever talked about buying those so you can recreate the original sounds?
We like our money.
No, but we buy stuff that is like it.
Yeah.
We I mean, Billy plays Ludwig drums. We play through Vox amps. We play through, a lot of different stuff. I got a Rickenbacker bass like Paul played. But we don't buy the same you know, the things they actually played, because those are, you know, $1 million instruments.
Yeah.
But we play stuff like it, and you know, we attempt to get sounds like they tried to get. Um, but
Yeah, on the
I'm trying to
records,
think,
you're
you
only
know,
hearing the instrument, and really, if you buy a Beatle thing, you know, if you bought a Ringo drum kit or a Paul bass or a John guitar or whatever, it would just be to show your friends and go, look at that, what I
well,
own.
yeah. The thing
Because
is, no matter what we're playing, I mean, the drums are still going to sound like Billy playing the drums. The guitars are still going to sound like I'm playing them. It's not magically going to sound like, you know, George is playing guitar.
right.
No matter how much I try. Um, but still, we like to get sounds that are reminiscent of, you know, what our heroes played. You know, we got tons of stuff that is like, oh, this is kind of like you know, like Fogerty, you know, like got a custom amp, or, you know, some Rickenbacker solid body guitars, you know, because of Credence, or like, what other junk do we got later?
Yeah. Well,
We got tons of stuff.
We've got the John Lennon Rickenbacker
Yeah.
six
Yeah, you
string.
got that black one. That's the first one I saw you guys play with.
Yeah. So,
So, you know, yeah, it's, you know, everything's, you know, pretty much everything we got is because, oh, somebody played, one of our heroes played something like this. So we, you know, love to do stuff like them.
Recently, you guys were featured on Sirius Radio on the Beatles channel. How did you guys narrow it down to the 3 songs you chose?
we were.
Yeah.
Oh, that had to have been an interview we did a while ago, right?
Yeah, I didn't know. I wish I'd known that. I wish I would have loved to. I
Well, that
listened.
had to have been the time that we did
I have the recording if you guys, I can send it over to JD if you want.
that Beatles channel. We went there, right? And
I
did
don't,
We did.
did an interview at Sirius that time we went
Well,
to New York.
Yeah, we've done many interviews there at Sirius, but I don't remember
you guys
doing.
were talking, and you broke down the 3 songs, and you guys were talking about them, but I didn't catch the
Oh,
part of
we
why.
did.
Yeah, we
I
went.
remember now. Yeah, yeah. It's just
I
that
don't
I
remember what we
listened.
chose.
I listen to the Beatles channel all the time, and you know, since I've never heard it on the broadcast, yeah, yeah, we did go in there. A really great interview, by the way, and but I would love to have heard it on the radio because I listen to that thing all the time, and uh, I love listening to, you know, the people talk about their experiences of growing up loving the Beatles and stuff on there too, because they have those certain shows where they have call in people, you know, and then they have the thing they have on Beatles channel is called My Fab Four, and you pick out 4 songs that, you know, that were your favorite Beatles songs, and these are not just musicians. I mean, these are people from all over the country that just call in and say, hey, my name's Gary from Philadelphia, and here's my Fab Four. Yeah, it's a pretty cool show, and for people who haven't listened to Beatles channel, you got to hear Peter Asher's show on there is excellent, and as well as Randy Bachman and his son Tal. They got a great show on there, so people should listen to it.
I want to ask, whenever I met you guys last year in Ardmore, we had talked about Beatles songs you guys had recorded. What songs actually exist you guys have recorded?
Beatles songs. We did Day Tripper.
Yeah, Day Tripper. I mean, I Want to Hold Your Hand was on the first record.
First album, the
the
crazy,
covers
like
art.
psychotic, sort of like, you know, weird psychobilly version of I Want to Hold Your Hand that goes into Knoxville Girl.
Yeah.
Nice old murder ballad. But yeah, that first record, as you know, was crazy. I mean, we did crazy stuff on it. So it wasn't like we were just trying to cover I Want to Hold Your Hand. We made it into this weird animal. But that and Day Tripper, which we never released on anything, we did.
I want to ask, ear monitors were invented in middle of 1965, but weren't popular until 1984. Will you guys ever do shows without them?
Not at this point.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
can't hear.
Yeah, no, if you don't have to, I mean, we carry them around because they are so important to us. And, you know, it's like you get used to them, one, because, you know, you have that separation and it helps you sing better. but also, it's like when you're on stage and you don't have them, everything is so loud, like, because you got to turn your amps up to get above the drums. Then you got to turn the monitor wedges up with the vocals louder so you can actually hear yourself sing. And it just gets so loud. And then it makes the front of house guys' job harder. It just basically makes everybody have to work that much harder. And, it's like I barely have mine on. It's like I don't need to have a crushing amount of volume in my ears. Billy is deaf, so his are cranked. Other guys, same thing. That's like, it's whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you need to be able to do your job. But we have basically the best in-ear monitors that are on the market. They're made by Jerry Harvey Audio. Jerry's an amazing engineer, monitor guy, and he basically invented in-ear monitors. He had a different company before, but now it's JH Audio. And we love Jerry as a person, and we love his in-ears, and they really are the best ones that you can get. And we're so happy to be using them.
If Jerry ever does television commercials, we'll be the first in line to do one.
Yeah,
they are. I had a conversation with a producer who's been in music for about 40 years. He said the reason he is still producing songs is because he said the perfect song has never been written yet. Do you guys agree with that?
That the perfect song is, well, it's so, I mean, that's a subjective sort of thing. I mean, like, as they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, I don't know if you could write the perfect song because, and especially these days, somebody's not going to like it. A lot of people. But I mean, and also who's to say, what's the perfect song? I mean, who's going to be that judge? Because it's art, and art's not a thing that you can, it's not like a 100-yard dash. In a 100-yard dash, somebody breaks a tape and they win, and music and, movies, novels, you can't have that, it's, I mean, I know that there are people who have written perfect songs as far as I'm concerned, and everybody else I'm sure has their version of that. I think Chris Christopherson wrote the perfect song with Sunday Morning Coming Down. I think John Prine wrote the perfect song about 15 or 20 times, and so there are people out there who are really, really amazing songwriters who, Merle Haggard, if you listen to country music, some of that stuff is just insanely good in terms of the poetry of it. But, I mean,
and you don't have to call me darling. Darling is the perfect country and Western song.
That's right.
After that last verse.
Exactly.
I want to talk about, you guys have a lot of merch that your fans can order. You have drumsticks, you have stickers, you have buttons, you have pins. We even have stickers that your fans can get as well. You want to talk a little bit about those?
Oh, it's just easy little things to make, because I was in the middle of trying to figure out a logo for the tour, and to make t-shirts that basically have that design on them. And so yeah, we're just trying to make things that people might want, and simple stuff. I mean, we're not geniuses at making merchandise or anything like that. We just want to make records, and we got a ton of them, and there'll be all of them will be on this tour.
That's right.
But yeah, it's like, it's like you get a bunch of there you go.
Oh,
And that one, the first record, that one's a bootleg. I don't know where you got
That's not real?
I don't think that, no, because that's only one CD, right?
It's got all your songs on it.
It doesn't have the covers though, right?
No, it's got the insert.
No, but it doesn't,
the cover versions of songs.
It doesn't have like the Beatles song and I Want to Hold Your Hand and stuff like that, does it?
Pour Out. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's just the original songs, because that album had
it had two discs.
It was a 2 CD set, and it had 1 CD of all original songs and 1 CD of all covers. And so that's why we don't know where you got that. That's like JD said, it must be a bootleg, because you've got something rare there. Well, I've never seen that.
It popped up because I thought it was like a limited release, and like, oh, I don't have it in my collection. I'll mail it to you guys if you want it.
I got a couple of the those originals, and I'll try to remember to bring one. But we only have like a handful of them.
Yeah.
And like, when the label gave us all our stuff back, it was like pallets and pallets of all the pieces that go into making the record, like the booklets and the boxes and all that, but no CDs. So I had, like 6 pallets of pieces of CD packaging, but no CDs. And so it was really really a pain. So I threw them in the dumpster.
I've got a
Well-
few more for you because I don't know how much time I had with you guys. I want to ask, because every time I hear an album, I can't pick a favorite because you have so many beautiful ones. So I wanted to ask, on Tea Surfing, when you came up with science fiction, what was the inspiration behind that?
It's a song. Once again, the title, would make you think of science fiction as in Star Trek or whatever. But in fact, science fiction is about a lonely guy who kind of stays home all the time in his room and whatever, and it's his version of his life in his mind. In other words, he fantasizes about his life. So it's actually science fiction. He's living science fiction because it's not. He's living fiction, but the idea behind the way the song sounds is we wanted it to have some kind of sound that was a little different than some of our songs, and we went sort of for the Devo sound on that. Not consciously in the beginning, but we realized that that's kind of what we were headed for after a while. And but yeah, science fiction's about a guy who is a hero in his own mind. So yeah, that's it.
I learned how to play the intro and your chords to it, so that's why it's one of my favorites. I got a few.
Know how to play it.
It's open E and then it starts on F. I wanted to talk about how fans can find you on social media, all your links, and as always, anything that you guys want to plug or talk about.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to introduce to you JD Andrew, who knows stuff about it.
That's right. www.theboxmasters.com. That's our website. That's where our store is. That has the tour dates. We just made a new website, and so there's an actual calendar. Ticket links are on there. Social, basically, we do everything on Instagram. It's at _boxmasters_official. And I think the Facebook is the official Boxmasters. Yeah, once again, because we got locked out of our old accounts. And so that's why we had to make different ones. And, we do, as much as we can. I mean, we use, once we get on tour, we'll do a lot more posting. Right now we're, in the studio, and gets rather boring to see, like 50 pictures of, the console in various, states, or just, here's another guitar. Here's another picture of an amp. Here's Billy sitting at the drums again.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the same thing over and over. So it's not super thrilling.
Well, I wanted to thank you because we got the interview, and I can add this to the shows and other venues that have been announcing you guys.
Awesome.
Excellent.
www.theboxmasters.com.